Thank you, Chairman. I am almost a pupil or a student of Professor Gramenos. Professor, how long do I have to speak? 7 minutes. Okay. So first of all, very quickly, the Onassis Foundation is a business as well as a public benefit foundation. And one of its main businesses is shipping. As Professor Gramenos and other friends here, Mr. Karamousis, know very well, we have a sizable fleet of 31 ships on the water, plus 3 to be delivered in the next year, about 7 million deadweight tons. So this is why I have been requested to come here, not wearing my hat as a public benefit person. And by the way, 40% of the profits of the total business activities of the Onassis Foundations go for public benefit activities. The other 60% is reinvested. So you can understand we have a big job ahead of us just investing all this stuff. Secondly, I will apologize to my friends here who are already in the shipping business because some of the slides will be very well known to them. But not everybody attending is an expert in shipping. And my subject will concentrate basically on the strategic and diplomatic importance of shipping in general. Other fellow presenters here will discuss specifically about Greek shipping. So diplomacy and strategy are no longer about war, but about trade and trade flows. This is an important part of my subject today. Of course, there are other areas like cybersecurity, big data, etc. So let me use this. Okay. Great, it works. So the importance of maritime trade is, as you can see from this slide, huge. Over 80% of global trade's volume is carried by sea, 84%, of which 15.5% is containers, tankers of all kinds, 32%, general cargo ships, 9.5%, and dry bulk ships, which are the ships transporting iron ore, coal, grain, and other stuff, are the 43% of the total, a huge part of the total. These are the strategic choke points in the world in general, not just for shipping, but as you can see, they also relate to shipping. We have the Panama Canal, Gibraltar, Suez, Bab el-Mandeb, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Strait of Malacca. As you will see later in my slides, most shipping goes through there, and of course through the Cape of Good Hope. These are the crude movements. Obviously, sorry, these are the product movements. These are the crude movements. You can see the huge importance of crude oil from the AG, from the Middle East to China, and of course from Russia into Europe. Then we have the products, and you can see here the total product volumes, 1,000.1 million tons. Again, the importance, this is to going from China to Southeast Asia, something which I would like you to remember. Oil trade between countries of coastlines. Crude oil is the biggest part of it. The US dollar value of global crude and product exports is about, you can see there, more than $2 trillion per year. The total tanker fleet by ownership, other people will discuss it. You can see here the importance of Greek tonnage. This is a light blue area. And the dry bulk trade flows in tons, in billion tons, in volumes, is almost 6 billion tons. I'm saying all that because I have a point later on. Iron ore movements. Again, the huge importance of iron ore flowing from, basically, as you can see from the next slide, basically 82.6 billion tons going from Australia, Brazil, and South Africa on the top line to China, Japan, South Korea, Germany, and Taiwan, and the rest of the world in the next slide. Coal movements. Again, the huge importance of China, Southeast Asia. Coal trade, $83.7 billion. Grains movement, total volumes, 566 million tons. You can see here the importance of grain flowing from the United States, that's the point for tariffs, basically, flowing from the United States to China and the rest of the world. Dry bulk fleet by ownership against Greek-owned is 23%. East-west container movements, north-south container movements, and regional container movements. That's the value of total container trade, $90 trillion. This is to be related with total GDP of the world of about the same number. I will skip that in the interest of trade to go to my main point, which is here the strategic importance of shipping for China. China has a specific policy. It has built a logistics chain which starts in a vertical integration from yards, shipyards, which build ships, fleets. It has the biggest fleets in the world, maybe in real numbers, maybe even bigger than Greek numbers, because they have a huge number of ships that are below the radar. They are doing cabotage or trade internally, and they are below the trade. So they are huge, really. And then, of course, China is developing the rest of the world, which you can see from this slide, which is a very important slide. It's the same slide, the Chinese Silk Road. So the green is gas pipelines, over there. Is past gas pipelines. Actually, it is purple in this picture. No, it's green, sorry. Green is gas pipelines. Purple is rail. This is the Trans-Siberian railway. And then you have waterborne, seawater. You see this blue line, and actually it flows even to West Africa. What's the important thing here? China has a specific strategy to control the complete supply chain, the logistics chain between Southeast Asia and Africa. We are talking about 2.5 billion people who will rely on Chinese infrastructure to go ahead in their lives. It's also very important because these people are consuming per capita very, very small amounts compared to India and compared, of course, to China. If Africa, 1 billion people, Southeast Asia, 1.5 billion people, start consuming as much as the Indians, that will be a revolution in shipping and, of course, a revolution for the world economy. Last, and I'm already over my time, I can see that. Last is Greek. What can Greece do about it? Sanctions and embargoes are a very important tool for Greece. The participation of Greece in the various institutions that apply sanctions, like the UN, the European Union, could be very interesting. You can see the number of countries. Actually, there are many more countries that have sanctions and other kind of restrictions, over 50 of them out of 180 countries. And these are the US Office of Foreign Assets sanctions and embargoes. Again, a huge number of countries, a lot for Greece to do that. And this is my last slide Mr. Chairman. This is a Greek-owned fleet global trading map. You can see the Greek ships as they were on a specific point in time, all around the world, through the choking points and transporting goods and materials throughout the world. Thank you very much.